Hey, what is up, you guys? It is Tyler. Welcome back to the Tyler-kun Williams channel, and welcome to another episode of the Chill Pill Podcast, the only wrestling podcast here on the interwebs that's very tranquillo at its approach, but starts to get a little bit hyped towards the end, which begrudgingly, but overall we like to stay very mellow and chill over here. I say wrestling podcast because I really don't talk about anything else aside from wrestling on this podcast. Even though I want to talk about other stuff, I just never have time to. But I know a lot of you are saying you're never consistent with the Chill Pill podcast. I know. The last episode I did was, I think, back in September. Like, I did it. It was a long time ago. So I haven't done an actual episode of the podcast in a long while. But I figure whenever I have time to talk about a lot of stuff, then it's worth doing a podcast for. Because for me, my thing is, when I want to talk about something, I don't like waiting until a certain day of the week to talk about it. If I want to talk about something, I'm going to record my video, I'm going to put it up right away. I might schedule it to go up at a certain time, but I don't like waiting days to want to talk about something. So that's kind of why the Chill Pill podcast isn't a success, because I just don't like waiting. I'm very impatient. I might have to try being impatient sometimes in order to review this podcast. I'm not too sure. I'll figure it out. I'm going to try to be more consistent about the Chill Pill podcast this coming year. 2020. It's a new decade, new year. Same me, I guess. But that being said, there's a lot to talk about. Guys, I just got back from Tokyo just 3 days ago. I had such an amazing time while I was in Tokyo. Figured I'd go over just a little bit of my time there in Tokyo, Japan. Now, of course, I have a vlog series on my channel. I have 3 videos up. There's 2 more vlogs that are pending to go up very soon that will cover most of my trip. I've met so many really nice people, some people I like to call friends now, some people who I'm friends with on Twitter and Instagram, all that good stuff. I met the likes of not B. Priestley, but Jamie Hayter and Session Buff Martina out at a bar. I met basically the entire commentary team at one time, not one time, but I met Chris Carlton. Did I say that correctly? I think it's Chris Carlton, not Chris Charlton. Or is it Chris Charlton? I think it's Chris Charlton. I met him. I was waiting in line for my Wrestle Kingdom tickets. He ended up interviewing me for, I believe, maybe the New Japan podcast. I'm not too sure what he interviewed me for, but I'm supposed to be somewhere on Chris Charlton's podcast. I don't know where or when. He never really gave me the details, but I ended up running into Kevin Kelly and Childish Gambino. Oh my god. That would be awesome if I ran into Childish Gambino, but no, I ran into Gino Gambino. They were literally at a pancake shop right above the hotel I was staying at, and I ended up spending my breakfast talking to them. Nice guys, nice fellows. I think that was the day of New Year Dash, like before New Year Dash. It was in the morning. I met them. I ended up running across Drew Parker, who works for BJW. I met a few other names. I came across Jay White at one point. I didn't end up talking to him because he was on the run, but I came across him. I also walked past Kenta on my way into Tokyo. Little did I know, this dude ended up being one of the top heels in all of wrestling right now. I mean, I was naive. I didn't know at the time, but now I do. And I'm like, wow, I just walked across that guy. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I figured, you know what? I'll talk about my time in Tokyo in the live stream I'm doing later tonight. I'll hold off on that, and I'll get straight into what you're probably here for. And that's for me to talk about Wrestle Kingdoms Night 1 and 2. I know a lot of you are probably wondering my opinions on Wrestle Kingdom Night 1 and 2 since I was actually in the arena. I was there to witness all of this. I was waiting to give my formal review because I've seen the show like one time, and that was because I was there. I wanted to kind of get a feel for what it was like to watch it back on New Japan World, but I didn't exactly have time to watch both full shows because those shows are like 4 or 5 hours counting the pre-shows. Those are some long-ass shit. Like, that's a long-ass weekend I had. I didn't even realize. Especially with New Year Dash being 3 hours. Oh, my God. It's like, what, 13 hours of wrestling? You add in the 2 extra shows? Oh, my God. I don't know how wrestling went to. Anyway. So I figured what I would do is I would watch like highlights, recaps, and I ended up watching full-length matches. during my plane ride back to the States. I watched a bunch of the Wrestle Kingdom matches on my plane ride back, took some notes, and I'm able to give you guys Night 1 and Night 2 reviews of Wrestle Kingdom 14, both from my perspective watching it on TV and in the arena. So let's start off with Wrestle Kingdom Night 1 that happened on January the 4th, 2020. So, I don't really want to get into the pre-show, honestly. I will talk briefly about the Stardom Women's match that happened, untelevised dark match on the pre-show between Arisa Hoshiki and Mayu Iwatani, or Iwatani, I think it's Iwatani, versus Julia and Hana Kimura. From what I remember, the match was, like, decent. I mean, it wasn't anything, like, special. I don't really remember anything, like, really great happening in the match. I remember the match itself. It's a historic event. But nothing else that happened in the match. I mean, I remember Arisa hitting the Shining Star Cutter, as she calls it, which she later said is an homage to Will Ospreay's, basically his Os Cutter. So she hits a springboard cutter onto, I believe it was Hana. She was killing it in that match. And Mayu, it was more so of a showcase, I would like to say, for Mayu and Arisa. Hana Kimura got into this match at some point, but like she really got beat down a lot of it. Julia got in at some times, but then she tagged out and she was getting knocked off the rope. I believe Mayu Iwatani ended up doing a moonsault onto Hana Kimura, pinning her, and that's how Arisa and Mayu won the match. Stardom just put out the press conference release, not the press conference, but you know, the post-match comments from both teams, but they're not English subtitles. I need Stardom, whenever they upload matches, shows, segments to their YouTube channel, first thing you need to do is put in subtitles. Like, if they're trying to expand, you know, they're on the Bushiroad, they're trying to expand out. I'm not saying they're going to go whole Stardom USA. I'm not saying that's going to happen. But if they want to pander more to the American audience, because the American audience, you know, we're starting to get light. People are starting to get more light of Stardom. And that's good for them. But if they want to actually, you know, get into that market, possibly in the future, they're going to have to start doing more English subtitles. Because I tell you what, the language barrier is the main complaint, the main excuse, really, you get with wrestling fans of why they don't watch New Japan, about why they don't watch this company or that company or that company. It's, oh, I don't know the language. So you don't have an excuse in New Japan because they have English commentary. They give you English subtitles. You go to the website, it's translated in English. They don't have an excuse. You go to the post-comment YouTube page, guess what? English subtitles. No excuse in New Japan. With Stardom, I can understand. Because Stardom, like, it seems like the only thing that will have translated on the website is the pre-match comments. Everything else, yeah. Maybe post-match comments from the wrestlers themselves, but nothing else is subtitled. So I need Stardom to kind of hop on that. But that's besides the point. That's not Wrestle Kingdom related. That's Stardom. But back into the rest of the show. I'm so sorry about my coughing. Please excuse me. We get into the first match. Tiger Mask, The Great Sasuke, Tatsumi Fujinami, and Jushin Thunder Liger versus Naoki Sano, Shinjiro Otani, Tatsuhito Takaiwa, and Ryusuke Taguchi. It was an alright match, really a Legends showcase. The entrances was really more appealing and more memorable to me than the actual match was, and I think most other people probably tell you the same thing. In the end, it was Ryusuke Taguchi who ended up pinning Jushin Thunder Liger to win the match for his team, which made the most sense to me as he's the only active member in New Japan of the entire match. I mean, Liger's retiring. Sasuke doesn't wrestle. He doesn't wrestle for New Japan, I believe. Fujinami doesn't wrestle. Tiger Mask wrestles like from time to time, but like he doesn't wrestle as consistently as Taguchi does. Sano doesn't wrestle. Otani wrestles here and there. Takai, I don't know if Takai wrestles or not. I don't really follow him, but like he's the only, you know, active, really featured wrestler New Japan has right now. So that made the most sense. And I don't think this is going to lead to like some big Taguchi push because, you know, usually, oh, the person who pins the guy on the way out is getting a big push. And I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to see Taguchi as the junior weight champion or beating, I hope it doesn't be Dragon Lee, or beating Hiromu for the junior weight champion. I don't see that happening. So definitely Right Man won, but that was the match. Then we get into the next match. Bushi, Evil, Sonata, and Shingo Takagi versus the team of El Desperado, Minoru Suzuki, Taichi, and Zack Sabre Jr. I remember being in a crowd for this match, and you could tell all the UK fans that came all the way from Europe and went to Japan, because all I heard throughout the entire Zack Sabre Jr. match, Zack Sabre Jr. entrance was, "Oh, Zack Sabre Jr. Oh, Zack Sabre." I'm like, shut the fuck, shut the fuck up. You know what? I love UK wrestling. Never been a big fan of UK crowds. I always found them really rowdy. I don't know. That's just been me. And I don't want to segregate any of my UK listeners. I love y'all to pieces. But the chants sometimes irritate me. That's all I have to say about that. The entire time I was watching this match in the Dome, I was thinking, damn, why am I sitting here watching this 4-on-4 happening on the main card of Wrestle Kingdom? A match that would generally be placed on a Road 2 show. Maybe even you could segue it onto like a C or B level show and it will pass. But a 4-on-4 at Wrestle Kingdom, like this seemed so out of place. And I understand why they did it. You got to get Shingo, Evil, Bushi, Despy, and Taichi on the card. I understand that. Minoru Suzuki technically wasn't on the card for the next night either, so I understand him being on the mat. But it's like, why is this 4-on-4 happening at Wrestle Kingdom? I honestly, a lot of people in my section were saying the same thing. They were all like, we don't understand why this match is happening, right? Like, it's not like people thought the match was bad, because none of the matches on this card were bad. It just seemed like a very unnecessary match that happened. In the end, I believe it was ZSJ who made Bushi tap out to finish off the match. So he got the edge over LIJ going into his match with Sonata the next night. We didn't get into the next tag team. Yes, another tag team match. There was 3 on this Wrestle Kingdom show. The first one I understood. The second one, I kind of like. The third? Okay. We had the team of Bad Luck Fale, Chase Owens, Yujiro Takahashi, and Kenta versus the team of Yoshihashi, Toru Yano, Tomorishi, and Hiroki Goto. Again, understood the reason for the match. Didn't feel like it had any business happening at the Tokyo Dome. Hiroki Goto put down Yujiro Takahashi with a GTR for the pin to win the match for Chaos ahead of his match against Kenta on night 2. The way I see it, honestly and truly, if you wanted to skip the first hour of this show, you could, and you won't miss a damn thing. I mean, if you want to see the legends wrestle in the first match, okay, but like the first hour, maybe the first hour and a half, just skip it. Then we get into the next match. The IWGP Tag Team Championships are on the line as the Guerrillas of Destiny defend their titles against Juice, David Finlay, and Juice Robinson. I love David Finlay. I love Juice Robinson. And I love Guerrillas of Destiny. I love my G.O.D. Ain't nobody real than Gorilla. I like Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. But I'm not going to lie. This was the bathroom break match for me. I know. Tyler, why didn't you go through during the 4-on-4s? Listen, your boy started to, during those 4-on-4s, I was getting a little restless. I'm like, let me go get a drink. I was drinking them lemon sour. When I was in Japan, I feel like all the drinks I lived off of were either bourbon or lemon sours. That was really all I drank while I was in Japan. I mean, I drank like maybe a few glasses of Grey Goose or some vodka, but like really it was lemon sours. I don't know why, but I was just having a hanker for lemon sours the entire time. So I was just down to lemon sours and my bladder was starting to run. So I'm like, well shit, I'm gonna have to miss this match maybe. So I went to the bathroom. Now mind you guys, a lot of people had the same idea I did and they were going to the bathroom. So there was a line that I had to wait to get into the bathroom. By the time I got out, I'm like, well damn, I'm a little thirsty now. So I go to the concession stand, go and order another drink, or I don't know what I got, but I'm at the concession stand. I hear 1, 2, 3, and I have heat flashes and PTSD visions back to SummerSlam 2017. I remember, oh man, was it SummerSlam 20? It was SummerSlam 2017, yeah. Like 3 years prior, my first was this the first pay-per-view I ever attended? I believe the first pay-per-view I ever attended was SummerSlam 2017 in New York City with me and my cousin Darren. And it was during the Randy Orton Rusev match that I went to take a bathroom break. And I remember going to the bathroom. And while I'm taking a piss, I hear 1, 2, 3. And Randy Orton wins 10 seconds into the match. And I said, wow. So I had Heat flashes back. And I'm like, oh no. The GOD just beat him. But then I hear Finley's theme playing. And I'm like, whoa, damn. I'll be damned. They actually did it. Good on them. I was so happy in that moment, even though I didn't see a damn thing that happened. I'm sure it was a good match. I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the matches I didn't watch back on playback, so I don't even know what happened in the end stretch. But Finn Juice won. They're the new tag team champions. Happy for them. We then get into the IWGP United States Championship match, which is defended in a Texas death match between reigning and defending champion Lance Archer versus Jon Moxley. The only way to win this match is by submission, knockout, or a last man standing 10 count. Now, in any other death match, I'm sure you can win by pinfall. In this one, you can win with anything but a pinfall, which I just didn't understand why there was 3 different ways you could win instead of 1 or 2, but whatever. So they deem this a Texas death match. And with the caliber of talent in this match, I would like to think there might be some pretty edgy stuff. Maybe bordering lines of a no-holds-barred type match you would see in the Japanese setting. I'm not thinking BJW levels of crazy. I'm not thinking needles and, bleeding. I'm not thinking about all that kind of stuff. Or C4 explosive, fake C4 explosives, of course. Well, I'm not thinking about all that, but I'm thinking about maybe bust out a light tube. I don't know, something. If you're gonna call it a death match, you gotta make it seem like a death match. I mean, hell, like this. See, oh my god, like I'm thinking to myself, I just saw a match between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley like 3 months ago that I was saying this match was a little over the top for me. Wasn't expecting this. A lot of people thought it was too much blood, too many high spots. They were doing too much. That is a Texas death match. I would label that a Texas death match. His match with Ishii had no stipulation attached to it. And I thought, initially, I ain't gonna lie, I was hating on that match. But watching it back, I'm like, damn, that was a really good match. Ishii did a fucking dive through the table. That match, that spot will always stay in my head forever. There was chairs included. Ishii went straight. It was a damn really good match. Both of those matches made this look like a watered down, tame version of a street fight. And it was kind of whack. Not even gonna lie. I remember sitting there during the end stretch thinking, man, this is a letdown. Like, I honestly sat here, watched this match after I saw Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, who's not even anywhere near being a death match or Extreme Rules type wrestler, did all those crazy spots, but they did like literally nothing. Almost nothing in this match. Like, really? Okay, I guess. In the end, Jon Moxley ended up hitting a leaping Death Rider off the apron onto a table. Brutal landing for Lance Archer. Like, his stomach landed on, like, the edge of the table. And he just ended up draping across it. It was a nasty landing for him. I'm surprised he didn't rupture anything, but apparently he's fine. He didn't get up for the 10 count. That awarded Jon Moxley the IWGP United States Championship. Like, honestly, I feel like you could probably skip the first half of the show. I don't want to say that. I really don't, because it's Wrestle Kingdom, and I love it, and I love being at Tokyo Dome. But like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these first 5 matches, y'all notice I ain't say nothing about the matches being like good or great, right? Like, I don't know if they're worth watching. Anyway, get into the next match. This second half of the show definitely made up for it. I don't know about the match after. Anyway, we get into the next match. The IWGP Junior Boy Championship is on the line as Will Ospreay took on Hiromu Takahashi. Alright, I'll be the first to admit, I had a preconceived idea of what I thought this match was going to be, much like I'm sure all of you did. High spot here, high spot there, a respective spot for each man where they almost damn near die. Fast-paced, high action in the end stretch, finisher, end of match. Not only did this not go down the way I expected, which I wasn't mad about, but it came out way better, ended up being not only one of the best matches that whole weekend, but one of my favorite New Japan matches that come out of the junior division. In the beginning, they did their commonplace cruiserweight hot opener, which we see so fucking often nowadays that it literally, I can't pop for it anymore. Whenever I see two cruiserweights or lightweights go at it, in the very beginning, I'm just sitting there like, all right, let's get to the part where everyone starts clapping. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's how I react nowadays. Because, a few years ago, when they first started doing it, even years before that, when it was very, very new, it was awesome. It was cool to watch. It was a spectacle. But now you're having guys who are doing this end stretch for about, and I don't want to knock on Jordan Oliver and Blake Christian because they're really talented guys. But they did this end stretch for like a minute and a half. Other people in wrestling do this beginning hot opener for shorter periods of time and do less, and it still can't pop me. It's just like, I've seen it too much. That's like me when I see a Canadian Destroyer. I can't pop for it. I've seen it too much. The reverse Rana, seen it too much. Don't really care for it. So, they did that little thing. I gave him a little bit of applause because of Hiromu Takahashi. I'm like, okay, Hiromu, I'll clap for you. Not so much for Ospreay, but I'll clap for you. Hiromu started showing off a little bit. He was doing some of his hot moves, keeping up offense. But then Ospreay got him in position for something. He was on the middle rope, and Ospreay came off and foot stomped Hiromu right on the back of his head, and I gasped. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I love New Japan. But when these wrestlers, I hear about wrestlers having, neck injury this, neck injury that, and then they go on and they fucking do moves that are going to possibly put them back on the shelf. I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And, of course, Hiromu sells it like death, and I'm literally like, I hope he's okay. Of course, it's not like I think like he's dead or anything, like when Ryu Lee fucking dropped him on his head that one time at the G1 Special San Francisco, but it was just kind of scary. Anyway, after that, Ospreay started to have the offense, and from here on, it was just that cocky, arrogant Ospreay we saw glimmers of during the Road to Tokyo Dome tour. He ended up taking control, which normally is not his forte, and Hiromu was on defense, trying to desperately make comebacks, but whenever Hiromu was trying to come back, Ospreay had an answer and put him right back down. It slowed the pacing of the match down, but not to the point where it bored you and you lost interest. In a way, it made it more interesting because you normally don't see these two guys work in this type of style. It was very methodical in a way. Ospreay was kind of working over Hiromu, and I was so fascinated, like, am I really watching a Ospreay match where he's working over somebody? Like, I don't normally Ospreay's getting worked over, and he's doing the grunts, and he's doing heavy breathing, and he's having all the very dramatic facial expressions. Like, I'm used to that Ospreay, but the Ospreay where he's just beating down Hiromu and he's posing on a top rope, that I'm not used to, but I like it. Because Ospreay comes across as he's probably a dick. And in the Road 2 tour, he showed me that he could play a dick. Very, very good. So when I saw this, I'm like, you know what? I'm into this. And at this point, Hiromu has to win. You can't play up this story they're telling in the match right now and then have Hiromu not win. So Hiromu started making his comeback. And then he started going at the pace you would expect. Not super fast and not super spotty, but they started to go a little bit faster, get the crowd into it, because the crowd was starting to not die. They weren't dying, but they were starting to get a little mellow because the match was slowing down for them. And I guess a lot of the crowd was expecting to be like balls to the wall action. But I appreciated it. I hope they know that. I appreciate them slowing it down. Like I said, it never got to spotty territory, but I ended up really loving this match. Hiromu made his comeback, hit all of his greatest hits, made a lot of counter sequences to Ospreay, ended up hitting his ticking time bomb on Ospreay, kicked out. Then he did this new move he was talking about, which basically just looked like an alternate version of the ticking time bomb. It literally looked no different than than the ticking time bomb initially. And he put Ospreay in that move, he hit it, and then he got the pin. Hiromu Takahashi winning the IWGP Junior Championship. A very overjoyous moment. I was happy. The entire crowd was happy. This is probably one of the biggest pops and like heartwarming moments like the Tokyo Dome had. Like, because you guys gotta think, like, first thing first, for all of you who don't know, who haven't been to Tokyo Dome, when you're in the dome and you're a foreigner, more than likely they're gonna place you in a section with all foreigners. Like, when I was in Arena B for night 1 section, all foreigners. Arena 1F stand, night 2, guess what? All foreigners. I mean, there was almost no black people, but where were y'all at? We all got support New Japan more. No, I'm just kidding. There was like maybe 1 or 2, but whatever. Anyway, so that was the match. It was a great moment. Definitely, I would say my top 5 favorite matches of the weekend. Then we get into the next match, the IWGP Intercontinental Championship match between Jay White and Tetsuya Naito. Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened in this match. Like, this match started off slow, and then it just went on and on and on and on and on, and it just never picked up. Like, I remember sitting there and hearing the announcer saying 30 minutes pass, and I'm just like, this match does not need to be dragged out this long. And I remember people who were next to me in the crowd saying, why is this match taking so damn long? Like, why is this match dragging? It felt like they were trying to make it. You know, when a wrestler, like, if you're a wrestling fan, you watch wrestling for a long time, you can tell when wrestlers are trying to drag a match to a certain point, because it feels like they've been slowing it down, and it's building, and it feels like the crescendo should have happened already, but it still hasn't. That's when it starts to feel like you're trying to make this match longer than it should be. And once I heard 30 minutes, I said, oh my God, why the fuck is this match still going on? And I love Jay White. I love him to death. I will sing his praises all the time about how underrated he is, how unappreciated he is, about how much of a masterful counter wrestler he is. But this match was just not it, Chief. And I gotta give it to Naito too. Naito did not make this match any more interesting. Like, both men, in the past, in the G1 Climax, when they had their match, it was fine. It wasn't good or great. It was fine. When they had their match at G1 not G1, I just said that. When they had their match at Destruction in Kobe, it was good. Wasn't anything better, but it was good. And then you get to this match, and I thought this was the worst match they had. Like, this was literally unnecessarily long. Tetsuya Naito ended up putting him down for the Destino for the pin and winning the IWGP IC Championship. The crowd popped, but I'm sure they popped because the match is over, not because Naito won. Anyway, we get into the next match. The main event for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Kazuchika Okada going up against Kota Ibushi. This was the match that basically was one of the sole reasons I flew out to Tokyo. Kota Ibushi was one of the first wrestlers in Japan, if not, he wasn't one of, he was the first wrestler in Japan that I got into. He got me into New Japan. He got me hooked into Kenny Omega. He got me hooked into watching New Japan on a weekly basis. Okada too. I mean, even though Ibushi was one of the first, Okada respectively was basically the second, because the second match I've seen from New Japan was Kazuchika Okada versus Hiroshi Tanahashi from Wrestle Kingdom 9. So Okada and Kota Ibushi were basically like the first wrestlers I got into when I first heard and seen New Japan. And then, of course, as you guess, they're the first wrestlers I got into when I started actually watching New Japan. So Okada's a champion. Kota Ibushi winning the G1 Climax. I knew at that point in time, I'm going to the Tokyo Dome. I'm going to Wrestle Kingdom to watch this match. I went all the way out there and I got to see it. I got to see Okada's dope-ass entrance live. It was probably one of the greatest entrances I've ever seen in professional wrestling. One of, not the, but one of the greatest professional wrestling entrances I've ever seen. But everything about this match is just great. From the slow building in the beginning to the end stretch. As you would guess, it felt the typical OMEF. If you guys want to know what OMEF means, that's the Okada main event formula. OMEF, for short. First 10 minutes is them filling each other out and setting the tone. Then a 20 minutes of some signature exchanges and some finishing teases, but nothing major happens. Then you get to the 30-minute mark, and that's when all the real shit starts going down. And this match went on for, I think, like 40 minutes. It was a long match. So that last 10 minutes was really where everything noteworthy happened. And I think the most noteworthy spot of the entire night, and I'm sure all of you will agree with me, was when Okada started elbowing Ibushi in the face. They're having that elbow exchange, and he elbowed Ibushi once in the face, and then Ibushi just kind of smirked into the camera, like he was in the deadlights, just like. And I knew at that point when Ibushi smirked and looked at the camera, I said, he's about to go into killer mode. He's about to go into that. He's about to start seeing red. And the crowd's laughing, like, like y'all laughing. Okada about to die, but all right. So Okada's elbowing some more, and Ibushi's not budging. He's doing it harder. Ibushi's still not budging. Then he slaps him. And he's hitting him. Okada drop kicks him, and Ibushi gets right back off his feet immediately. And then he goes at him, stiff striking, kicking him in the ass. Then he starts dead ass close fist punching this man, almost to the point where the crowd started booing Ibushi. And I remember a lot of people in my section legitimately wondering if this was a shoot, if Ibushi was shooting on Okada during this match. And I was laughing like, wow, this is what professional wrestling is all about. Not about the great wrestling, but wondering if what you're seeing is real. That's when you know you're doing something right. Anyway, soon enough, Okada started making his comeback, of course. But then Ibushi started making his comeback as well. And that's when that final 5 minutes came into play. Both men are countering each other's big moves, and equal amounts of offense are in between these men, and it's making it almost impossible for you to guess who's going to win. And of course, I'm still on the side that Ibushi let's go, Ibushi this, Ibushi that. Okada hits the Rainmaker, Ibushi kicks out, and I'm like, I don't know if he's going to kick out another one. He hits another Rainmaker, wrist control. It's the second one. I said, this is going to be the fourth Rainmaker. He ain't kicking out his fourth Rainmaker. Hits the fourth one on him, pins him, 1, 2, 3, and Kazuchika Okada retains the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Amazing match. I had the honor of witnessing. Even though Kota Ibushi didn't win, it was still an amazing match. In my opinion, it was the best match of the entire show and the next show. Honestly, it was the best match of the entire weekend. I'll get into my top 5 of which matches I thought was better at the end of my review. But let's get into night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom. Once again, skipping the pre-show. I'm not bothering with it. First match we had here was Hiromu Takahashi and Ryu Lee versus Jushin Thunder Liger and Naoki Sano. Not much I can recall happening in this match. It really wasn't anything spectacular. But the real highlight that I do remember of this match was Hiromu Takahashi, who was hot off his win prior to this day. He just beat Will Ospreay for the IWGP Junior Championship. It was a great match. Many even said it was the match of the entire night. And he went from this immense happiness and overjoyous of getting his belt back, Mr. Belt is what he calls it, I'm not too sure, to this almost super serious, no smile whatsoever, all business mode. I mean, he still came out with the very exotic feathers and the peacock feathers and the very vibrant colors. He still came out looking like Hiromu, but he came out and the vibe from him was just complete 180. And I'm just like, this is interesting. Like, I'd never seen her with Takahashi like come out, no smiles, no run to the ring, no pandering to the crowd, just all serious. No fun, no games, nothing. Liger comes out and he's just staring Liger down there. And there's this one shot that I'm sure you guys saw on New Japan World. And I gotta give New Japan a lot of credit, because sometimes they bust out some dope ass camera angles that tell a lot of fucking stories. You have Liger coming out with the pyro and they give a shot of just Hiromu, just no emotion, just staring at Liger as the camera fades back into Liger like coming down to the ring, and I'm just like, this is perfect. This is why I watch wrestling. And that was serious that time. Like I said, I don't remember too much happening in the match itself. Honestly, I felt like the story was really between Hiromu and Liger, because if you guys remember, the reason why Hiromu was so serious is because he felt like Liger wasn't taking him seriously. Like, Hiromu in many interviews, like, Liger, like, take me seriously, like, I can beat you, and Liger was kind of just passing him off, like, And I remember that one shot where Hiromu, like, I think he tried to swipe Liger and Liger slapped him in the face or something and Hiromu wouldn't even budge or blink or flinch. I'm just like, what the fuck kind of Hiromu am I? Why? It was like two different people from night 1 and night 2. It was ridiculous. Even his style, it still was reminiscent of the night before, but everything, he just seemed like he hit harder. It wasn't very flashy. Even when he pinned Liger in the end, he still didn't break character. He still didn't smile. I still want my fun-loving Hiromu, but when it's time to get down, I want to see this Hiromu more often. I want to see this Hiromu a lot more often. It was almost scary to see at times, not even gonna lie. But Liger got pinned by Hiromu, and he had his final bout before going to the back. Then we get to the next match, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, as El Phantasmo and Taiji Ishimori take on Roppongi 3K. To be honest, I don't remember a single thing happening during this match. Not a thing. And I love Yo, and I love El Phantasmo, and I love Taiji Ishimori, and I love Yo, but they must have not did anything over the top or appealing to me because I can't remember anything. And I didn't watch this match. This is one of the matches I didn't watch back on my plane ride home. So that's part of the reason why I probably don't remember anything happening. The finish I can recall, though. The finish I remember when Sho went for the shocker on ELP. He ends up hitting it, and he gets the pin. And Sho and Yo, Roppongi 3K, win their 3rd or 4th IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. And man, oh man, I can't wait for Yo SJ. That's the only time of the year I feel like I'm ever going to see Yo and Sho apart from each other. I love them as a package deal. I do. I love Roppongi 3K. But I really want to see these two break apart just for a little bit. You don't got to do a heel turn. Not every tag team has to turn on the other. Not every tag team has to have one guy turn on the other. They could just come to a mutual agreement that, hey, it's been fun, it's been cool, but I want to do things on my own for a little bit. But then they go to separate ways. That's all we need to do. And we get Sho versus a plethora of wrestlers. And we get Yo feuding with a plethora of wrestlers that's not only in one tournament every single year. Like, I really want them to break apart for a little bit. Of course, we're not going to get that now because they're tag team champions, but maybe next year, I don't know. Then we get into the next match. For the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship, Zack Sabre Jr. defends against Sonata. And of course, I heard the Zack Sabre Jr. Oh my god. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, this is the bathroom break match for me. Honestly, I went to the bathroom while the entrances were happening. Like, as soon as Sonata came out, I said, all right. Time to take a leak. You know, I don't hate Sonata. I really don't. But he doesn't do anything for me. That's all I'm going to say about Sonata. You guys know this by now. But all you new viewers probably listen to this. Now you know. Sonata just doesn't do anything for me. He never did. And he probably never will. Anyway. This match. How do I go about saying about this match? I don't want to say I didn't like this match. But I kind of didn't like this match. And here's why I didn't like this match. I feel like I've seen this match happen 3 times already. The last 2 times, they faced off against each other. The one time was in a G1 Climax, and the other time was at King of Pro. Was it King of Pro Wrestling? No, it wasn't King of Pro Wrestling. Was it the Road to Tour? They faced off at some point earlier in the year, and they faced off at some point later in the year. So they faced off 3 times in 2019. But the last 2 times they faced off, I remember them doing this roll-up sequence. Where one person did a roll-up. 1, 2. Then the other person. 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 Like a song. It was like a song going on. I'm like, okay. First time. You know what? That was cool. Cool finish. Sonata won. Whatever. Second time. Same thing. 1, 2. Oh, wait. 1, 2. Oh, Sonata. 1, 2. Oh, ZSJ. 1, 2. I'm like, okay, it's cool, I guess. But I think ZSJ beat. Then they had a plethora of tag team matches, of course, because they're feuding going into Wrestle Kingdom. And guess what? The night 1. Last night. The night prior. 1, 2. Oh, counter. 1, 2. I'm like, why are you still doing this sequence? Why are you still... It's not cool anymore. You've done it like 18 times already. Stop. So when they started doing it, I just rolled my eyes. I'm like, you know what? I'm about to check Twitter. Like, and I had really bad reception in Tokyo, so I couldn't even check Twitter. So I just had to sit there and watch this shit. I was so disappointed. Anyway, they started doing the sequence. They kicked out. Then something happened. They were doing, I think Sonata had him in a Dragon Sleeper, and everyone's cheering like, yes, Sonata, tap him out. And ZSJ counters this into a pin. 1, 2. Sonata counters it. 1. I'm like, what the yo, come on. And then, guess what? ZSJ counters it. 1, 2, 3, and he gets the pin. And Zack Sabre Jr. wins this match, and I just sat there like, why the hell did I just sit here? Well, I could have got up and got something to eat, and I would not have missed a damn thing. Like, really? You just showed me the exact same finish from your last 2 match? Like, I gotta say, this is probably the one match I just didn't like. Probably the one match I didn't like on the entire 2 nights. But I digress. We get into the next match. The IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship is on the line as Jon Moxley takes on Juice Robinson. We finally arrive at part 3 of their rivalry. The moment where we all thought Juice Robinson would eventually get his win back. Up until he won the tag titles with David Finlay the night before, and we all came to terms that he's going to lose this match. It was just a matter of would the match be good or great, and it was neither one of those two. I honestly thought this was the weakest match they had in the bunch. Pretty similar to the Naito and Jay White match. Not that it was as boring as that match, but it just wasn't as good. Honestly, at times I thought it was a little dull and there was not too much going on. I remember, they had some those stiff clotheslines and the nice counter sequences or whatnot. The chemistry between the two men is alright, but it ain't anything special, anything to brag home about. Like, if they didn't have another match in the future, I wouldn't be mad about it, honestly. So, they get up during the end stretch. They start doing their thing. By the end, Jon Moxley is just elevated Death Rider on Juice Robinson and gets the pin to retain the IWGP United States Championship. After the match was what really, really got people into Jon Moxley being around New Japan even longer, if you weren't already into it. Now you were, because who came out afterwards? None other than the King, Minoru Suzuki. He comes out and he starts taking off his gear, and he reveals that he's ready to go. He has his wrestling gear underneath of his tracksuit, and our crowd is getting excited. I'm getting excited. The arena's damn near fucking rumbling at this point. That's how crazy the crowd's going for this. Jon Mox gets laid out by Minoru with a GOT-style pile driver. He poses with the title, and that was it. And I'm ready. I'm ready for this feud. Let's go. Then we get into the next match after this. The Never Weight Championship is on the line as Kenta takes on Hiroki Goto. Good stuff. Nothing too special that you wouldn't expect from a Never match. Stiff strikes, elbow exchanges, hard-hitting lariats. The whole 9 yards, all the good stuff. Hiroki Goto ended up putting Kenta down with his GTR. And he got the pin. And he became the new Never Weight Champion. I think Hiroki Goto has a record going at Wrestle Kingdom. Is he undefeated at Kingdom? I feel like he probably is, but I'm not too sure about that. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. I feel like I heard that somewhere, but I'm not too sure. We then get into the next match. Jay White versus Kota Ibushi, the losers of last night. As New Japan tried their hardest not to say it, but that's what it was. The losers of the night prior are facing off to determine who is the biggest loser. Not nearly as good as their G1 Climax match from G1 29, but definitely was better than Jay White versus Naito, I'll tell you that much. It was good for the very beginning. They were having it was a lot of callbacks. A lot of callbacks to the first match. Geto ends up coming out, distracting Kota Ibushi. Jay White low blows him. He hits him with brass knuckles and then hits with a Blade Runner. And Kota Ibushi ends up taking a second L at Wrestle Kingdom. My heart was just crushed in a million pieces that night. I expected it to happen. I did not expect Kota Ibushi to win this match, but this put Jay White in line for a future double title match. When that will be, we're not too sure. But that leads us into the co-main event of night 2. Chris Jericho versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. If Hiroshi Tanahashi were to win this match, he would receive a future championship match for the AEW Championship. I love this match. The energy from the package, Tanahashi's entrance, Jericho coming out to the ring with the AEW Championship got people all amped up before the bell. Then once it rang, it came to the realization that, holy shit, this match is actually happening. Like, two men who I never thought I would ever see share the same ring. Chris Jericho, one of the top guys in WWE, Hiroshi Tanahashi, who carried New Japan on his back for years. They're actually sharing the same ring with each other and are about to have a match. Like, it was crazy to be there for it. I couldn't have asked to be anywhere else for that match but in that arena. And it wasn't some stiff match like a never match. It wasn't super spotty like a junior match. It wasn't some epic classic like some Okada match, but it was just what it needed to be. It didn't directly follow Tanahashi's formula, and I give him credit for actually, I feel like he was working with Jericho to make it kind of lean more towards a mix of the New Japan King Road style and then Chris Jericho's Western showman American type style of wrestling. I saw a mix of both in this match, and it gelled really well. It gave me almost kind of like hints of Tana versus Omega, but not as strong style as that match was, because this match was not like stiff or as great as Tanahashi versus Omega was. And it wasn't anywhere near as extreme as Chris Jericho versus Tetsuya Naito. But I ultimately felt like, in the end, this is definitely one of the best matches I've seen from Chris Jericho in New Japan, if not the best match from Chris Jericho in New Japan. Tanahashi, I thought was one of the best matches he had, really, since his match against Kenny Omega, honestly. I can't really explain much about it, but I just ended up loving this match like 10 times more than I probably should have. And it was nothing more than just a 20-minute match. In the end, Chris Jericho ends up catching Tanahashi midway through a high fly flow to a standing Jericho. He catches them, rolls them right into a walls of Jericho, and transitioned that into a lion tamer, making Tana tap. Chris Jericho winning this match and crushing all the hopes and dreams of all the fans, all the marks, wanting to see an AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling partnership. Maybe in the near future, maybe, but not today. Then we get into the main event. The IWGP Heavyweight and IWGP Intercontinental Championships were on the line in the double gold dash match between Kazuchika Okada and Tetsuya Naito. It was a great performance by both men. The double gold dash stipulation put a heavyweight on this match that both men carried throughout the end and in dashing fashion. I don't want to call all the spots in this match, so I'll skip to the end stretch where Naito hit his third Destino onto Kazuchika Okada for the pin to become the first ever dual IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Champion. I like the match, but let me go into my critiques about it. And I don't want to get into, oh, Tyler, you're critiquing the match, but I have to because there were some nitpicks I had about it. I said half jokingly to the guy sitting next to me, shout out to you, Gio. I said, I wouldn't be mad if this match started off and Naito hit 3 Destinos back-to-back onto Okada and beat him in 1 minute. Hence the term half-jokingly said it, because I wouldn't have been mad if it actually happened. They had such a long tenured history. 8 years. 8 years this feud's going back. 2012. They start off in New Japan as Young Lions. This match did not have to start off slow the way it did. It should have started off fast right out the gate. Then they could slow it down like Ospreay and Narumu. Start off fast, hit one big move on a Naito, maybe to tap the leg, slow right back down. Right back at the speed that Okada wants it. As soon as the match starts off, they're trying to feel out the crowd, see where the crowd level's at, who are they in favor of. Of course, they're in fucking favor of Naito. I don't know why they did that shit in the very beginning. Red Shoe's like, oh, is it Naito's Okada? Like, can you fucking hear? Then they start to lock up with each other, and Okada puts him up. I'm like, if he puts him up against the rope and he pats on his chest, and then Naito spits on him, I'm gonna roll my eyes. And guess what? That's exactly what the hell happened. And I said, why did I just watch the beginning of every fucking Okada match? Like, this did not need to happen. The first 10 minutes did not need to happen. The first 15 minutes, arguably, did not need to happen. This match, honestly, did not need to go 35 minutes the way it did. It probably shouldn't even go on anywhere above 30 minutes, in my opinion. Maybe not even 20. It did not need to be a long match. It shouldn't have been a long match. They known each other so well. They've been in 3 Wrestle Kingdom matches with each other. Why did they need to feel each other out? Didn't Okada watch Naito's match with Jay White? Doesn't he know he has a leg injury? And he did, because there was parts where he attacked the leg and the crowd started booing him, rightfully so. I was booing him the entire time, and I was booing him since night 1. But people finally joined in after he started attacking Naito's leg. But it's like, did we really have to get 15 minutes into the match for you to notice that, oh wait, Naito, you have a leg injury from the last one. Let me step on it a little bit. Like, I just didn't get that part. So I was a little taken aback for the first 15 minutes. I wasn't like out of it. I was not paying attention, but I was a little taken aback. Then the final 10 minutes came, and we saw finisher, counter, finisher. It was a finisher counter fest in a sense. Rainmaker, no. Destino, no. Twisted Rainmaker. Second Rainmaker. Kick out. Tombstone, no. Choreo, no. Twisting Tombstone. Rainmaker, counter to Destino, no. He kicked out. Like, that was this match for the last 10 minutes. And while sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes it works, and this time it did, I noticed it. I noticed that this match became a finisher fest towards the end. And I'm just like, all right, I'm buying into it, because if this match did not have the double title stipulation, I probably would have torn into it. But because the match had such high stakes, you were invested in it immediately, and you wanted to see who was going to win. But at the end of the day, I can't help but put the Wrestle Kingdom 12, the very almost forgotten about Wrestle Kingdom 12 match, over this match in terms of match quality. Any day of the week, if you ask me, what's my favorite Tetsuya Naito match? I'm going to tell you it's his match against Kazuchika Okada, Wrestle Kingdom 12. I love that match. I didn't like the ending. I didn't like who won, but the match itself was great. This match, it was good. I'd even say it was a great match. But it was not even in my top 3 favorite Wrestle Kingdom matches of the entire weekend, honestly. At the end, Naito posed with both belts, and Okada gave him a comeuppance. He did the whole LIJ fist bump air thing, which I thought was the most wholesome thing I've ever seen that man do. But Naito's doing his roll call, and that's when Kenta comes out and starts beating him down, much to the dismay of the entire crowd. Kenta was the biggest heel of the entire night, but ultimately the biggest heels was LIJ for not helping their boy. Like Shingo, Bushi, Evil. Like, where were them motherfuckers at? Why did they not come out? You had Kenta beating down Naito for a good minute. Then he sat on him with the title. Like, okay, y'all not gonna come out and help your boy? Nah, Bushi came down at the very, very, very last second after he got beat down. So no help. But that was Wrestle Kingdom. That was both nights of Wrestle Kingdom. If you ask me, I thought the stronger night probably was night 2. I think night 2 had a lot more to offer than night 1. Night 1 had the best match, but I think night 2 had a lot more to offer. If I had to rank top 5 best matches of that entire weekend for Wrestle Kingdom, if I had to rank them from number 5 to number 1, I would say number 5 for me would probably be, I know what number 4 to 1 would be, but what would number 5 be? What would I put at number 5? I would say Goto versus Kento be number 5. That was a good match. I would say Goto versus Kento be number 5. Number 4 would be Okada versus Naito. Yeah, it's not even 3. It's number 4 to me. I put that number 4. Number 3, I would put Jericho versus Tanahashi. Number 2, I would put Will Ospreay versus Hiromu Takahashi. And then number 1, I would put Kota Ibushi versus Kazuchika Okada. So that's how I rank the top 5 matches of Wrestle Kingdom 14. What do you guys think about that? But that was my coverage of Wrestle Kingdom 14. The night after and New Year Dash. I'm not going to go over everything that happened. But there was a lot that came out of that show. Liger's retirement ceremony, which was tear-jerking at times. Moxley versus Suzuki was basically confirmed in that show when Moxley came out after Suzuki's match and they went toe-to-toe with each other. Started exchanging blows, all that good stuff. We basically got confirmation that Ospreay versus ESJ is brewing now. The junior tag division is starting to look a little bit in limbo once again. Because it was promising. It was promising at first. With that 8-man, fatal 4-way tag team match they had, promising. Then the winners were Despy and Kanemaru. And that instantly told me we're about to go into El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus Sho and Yo for the 70th time. This is like, I don't even want to tell you how many times I've seen an iteration of that match. Not into it at all. Then we got something interesting. We got to see Tanahashi and Ibushi stand tall and basically stare down and challenge Thin Juice. So it looks like we're getting a tag program between Juice Robinson and David Finlay versus Tanahashi and Ibushi. Tanahashi and Ibushi as a tag team. I am so ready for that shit, bro. You don't understand. Ibushi and Tanahashi. You know, Ibushi doesn't need to go for the heavyweight title right away. It gives him something to do. It's very, very different because how often do you see Tanahashi go for the tag titles? How often do you see Ibushi go for the tag titles? So I'm here for it. It's something new. It's something fresh. It's a nice dose into the tag division because New Japan's tag division, for as much as we praise them, their tag division most of the times is booty. Like, there's nothing going on with them. They either give us the same mixed match of tag teams, like I said, Despy and Conor versus Roppongi 3K, or they're not doing anything. So this is different. I appreciate it. I like it. We got Jay White and Kenta. They're both running for Naito. Kenta seems to be first run in line, which I don't really understand that because Jay White won the match, and Jay White seems like he's just okay with this. But we'll see what happens a little bit later on with that. And then Okada's not even going for the heavyweight title right now. He's messing around with Taichi. I'm looking forward to this feud. I'm hoping that Taichi will win their first match. Maybe they're going to have two matches and Okada will win the last one. But I'm hoping Taichi at least wins one match. Just one. Give Taichi something big. Give him something to do. I mean, he's got something to do. I want him to win something, you know what I mean? We also got a dope-ass tag team match between Shingo, Evil, Goto, and Ishii. You guys should go watch that match. It was dope. But yeah, that was all that happened at Wrestle Kingdom weekend. It was a great time. I enjoyed my time in Japan. I loved it. Would do it again in a heartbeat. But let's go straight into Stardom Korakuen Hall's show. That will be happening in just 4 days, or 3 days, depending on when this goes up. They're having a show on January the 19th. It's one of their biggest shows of the year. Whenever that Korakuen Hall is a pretty big deal. But considering the lineup, it's a pretty big show. So I'm going to preview the card for Stardom's upcoming Korakuen Hall show. So the first match we have here is Queen's Quest, Leo Onozaki, and Rina versus Tokyo Cyber Squad's Ruka and Rina. Did I say Hina? I think I said, wait, Hina? Who is Queen's Quest? That's Rina, and I believe Hina is on Tokyo Cyber. I don't know. Hina and Rina are in one of these two tag teams, okay? I mean, it's really one of those young lionesses match. They're not young lionesses technically, but they're really undercard. I'm going to go with Queen's Quest to win, because why not? That's the thing I love about Stardom so far, is that I'm so new to the product, I don't know their formula, so I have to really guess who's going to win. Then we get to a triple threat match between Azumi, Starlight Kid, and Zoe Sky. Zoe Sky, I believe, had a really good showcase at Stardom's Wrestle Cinderella show that happened during Wrestle Kingdom weekend. Her and, what's her name? It was something else. I don't remember her name. It was Hirsch something. It was something Hirsch. She had a really good showcase as well. I'm looking forward to what these three can do in the ring with each other. I know Azumi and Starlight Kid have quite a rivalry going on. I've seen a few of their matches really good. I'm going to go Azumi to win because Azumi's the best. They have a 6-woman tag, a 6 stars tag. We had the team of stars, Itsuki Hoshino, Saya Ida, and Saya Kamatani versus Oedo Tais, Saki Kishima, Natsu Sumire, and Natsuko Tora. I'm going to go Oedo Tai to win. And guys, I finally got it right. I've been saying Odio Tai for the longest time, and no one's ever corrected me, but I've always thought it was spelled O-D-E-O, but now I realize it's spelled O-E-D-O, so it's technically Oedo. But like I said, no one ever corrected me. But anyway, then we get into the more important matches happening on this card. Tokyo Cyber Squad, Hana Kimura, Death Yamasan, and Layla Hirsch. That's her name, Layla Hirsch. Layla Hirsch. She had a really good showcase at Stardom Wrestle Cinderella as well. Versus the team of Julia and 2 mystery partners. Now, a lot of us are led to believe that one of those mystery partners will be Andreas Miyagi, which I think it probably will be. But who the other one is pretty much mystery. I'm not too sure. May it be a new recruit? May it be Io Shirai and Kairi Hojo? No, it won't be. But I don't know. I don't know who the last 2 people will be on Julia's team. But I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to go with Julia's team to end up winning this match. We then get into a next match. It is Kagetsu's final matches as she's retiring next month. She's having a match against Tam Nakano. Now, I don't know what the history is between Kagetsu and Tam Nakano. I noticed that a lot of Kagetsu's matches that she's having on her retirement tour is basically a combination of people she's had, long storied rivalries with, or, feuds or relationships, all that. I've noticed that kind of trend in her matches. I don't know the story between Kagetsu and Tam, so I'm just going to look forward to the wrestling here, and I'm going to go with Kagetsu to win this match. Then we get into the next one. The Goddesses of Stardom Championships on the line as Tokyo Cyber Squad, Konami, and Jungle Kyona defend their titles against Bea Priestley and Jamie Hayter. Team AEW. No, I'm just kidding. No, they're not. But Jungle Kyona and Jamie Hayter, they kill it whenever they're in the ring. Konami and Bea Priestley, they have some really good chemistry as well. They're gonna tear it up. I can't wait for this match, honestly. Especially Jamie and Bea. They're so awesome. I'm gonna go with Bea and Jamie to win and become the new Goddess Stardom Championships. No particular reason. I just thought they're gonna win. This is it. Then we get to the main two matches. The Wonder of Stardom Championship is on the line as champion Arisa Hoshiki takes on Utami Hayashishita. I said it correctly. Hayashishita. Now I'm showing off. I'm flexing on you guys. I know I say it correctly. Kind of. I hope. This is a tough one. They're packing a lot of mileage into Utami. I mean, she already holds, 3 belts? 3 belts already? She's held 5 in the last 2 years? So, I can see a scenario where, they go all in on Utami and just put the fucking white belt on her too. Which, I mean, she's not a bad wrestler, so I don't mind it. And I don't get the sense that people don't like her because she's overpushed. But Arisa's my girl. I'm going to back her this entire time. So I'm going to go with Arisa to retain the title here. Then we get into the main event. The World of Stardom Championships on the line as the reigning defending champion, Mayu Iwatani, takes on Momo Watanabe. Or is it Watanabe? I think it's Watanabe. It might be Watanabe. I don't know. This is equally as hard to guess. Because Mayu has been champion for the last 4 months. She won the title back in November from Bea Priestley. You would like to guess that Mayu, the icon of Stardom, she's going to hold on to that title for a while. But Momo Watanabe is definitely seen as the future ace of Stardom, if not one of the current aces of Stardom. She had a really lengthy, really great reign as the Wonder of Stardom champion before dropping it to Arisa Hoshiki. And she has yet to hold that red strap. So one could say it might be time for Momo to actually win that title. I want to say she does. I really want to say she does. But I think that Mayu's going to retain here. I think Mayu Iwatani will beat Momo Watanabe to retain the World of Stardom Championship. And that is my predictions for Stardom's Korakuen Hall show. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Let your boy know. We have a few more things to talk about here before we wrap up. A few stories I want to get into before I get into my 2020 predictions. AEW, I did a video earlier today talking about how they will be extending their deal out. TNT is extending out AEW Dynamite until the year 2023. So we're getting 3 more years confirmed of AEW Dynamite. So they are here to stay. Now remember, at any point in time, if they're fucking up, if the ratings are dropping too low, if there's budget cuts need to be made, TNT can just drop them and cancel them at any time. Shows get canceled. Don't believe that there's not a possibility the show can get canceled. I'm not saying it should be. I'm not saying I want to get canceled. But it could get canceled. However, 3 years is the timetable they're going to be out until they get renewed again. There's also on the card for them to get renewed for another year, 2024, but that's in discussion. As well as a secondary show will be part of AEW's umbrella, at least in the coming years, or maybe even as early as coming months. Now, we don't know what the secondary show is going to be. We don't know exactly if this is going to mean they're going to be AEW Dark is moving to TV, or we don't know if this means they're going to be getting another 2-hour show, another 1-hour show. We don't know exactly what this means. But when I hear secondary show, I immediately think this is going to be another Dynamite, another show that's, of some importance, I guess, that I might have to keep up with. And it's like, I don't necessarily think we need another AEW show right now. AEW's been around for 6 months. Less than that. I mean, they've been around for a year, technically, but they've been running TV for like, since October, November, December, January. 3 months. 3 months of running TV. I don't really think they need to have a secondary show right now. They should focus on building up Dynamite. Now, I've heard from the grapevine that this show is going to be like a main event type of show where they're going to have like talent on that show they're not showcasing on Dynamite. I'm like, isn't that fucking AEW Dark? Like, people are saying, oh, this show could be for the talent that they don't show. That's what AEW Dark's for. They don't need a secondary show. Like, when I hear that, I said, oh, why? Why do they need a secondary show? They don't need one right now. They don't need one right now. If you want to have a show to showcase your talent, that's why you have AEW Dark. Build up your talent there. That's what they've been doing. Whether you've been watching or not, I'll be honest, I don't watch AEW Dark. I watch it here and there. If I hear, oh, this is a good match, I'll watch the match. But guess what? I don't watch AEW Dark. I had a show called All Elite that I was doing. Guess what? I got busy. I haven't had time to do it. And since I haven't had time to do it, I haven't watched AEW Dark in like 4 weeks. So, for me, the importance level for Dark is not really that high. Secondary show, unless it's a major show, I honestly, I don't really care. I don't really care to see this right now. They have Being the Elite. They have, what is it called? The Nightmare Family. They have ways they can incorporate other aspects of wrestling onto their platforms. But I'll pass I already judged this, so I can't pass judgment. But I'll wait to hear them out and see what the secondary show is going to be about. But as of right now, I'm not all too enthused about it. Let's get into some WWE news. So WWE is going back to Saudi Arabia. This would be alarming news to some of you who thought, oh, after the whole Saudi Arabia deal where Vince McMahon left his wrestlers in Saudi Arabia stranded on a plane, you would think they weren't going back. Well, guess what? They locked into a 10-year deal. They signed that deal, what, 2 years ago? 3 years ago? They got 8 more years left on that deal. So unless Saudi Arabia decides to cut ties, they're stuck. They're stuck doing these Saudi Arabia shows. And guess what? Guess what? You the people, you the viewer, you the listener, you have the option to choose whether you watch that show or not. You have the option to choose whether you support that cause, whether you support that show, whether you support Vince McMahon's ideals, his morals, WWE's morals, how they treat it. You have the entire 100%. All up to you if you watch that show. No one's forcing you to watch. I see people complaining all day long about this Saudi Arabia show. Why are they going back to Saudi Arabia? So if Vince McMahon learned the first time, you gotta stop going back there. But then they're the same people that are gonna sit there and watch that. They hear about, oh, wait a minute, Edge is coming back. Oh, CM Punk. Not CM Punk. Edge is coming back. Oh, Goldberg coming back. Oh, John Cena's wrestling at this show. John Cena won't wrestle. But, Undertaker's wrestling again. Oh, who's he wrestling? Oh, Undertaker's wrestling The Fiend. Oh, I gotta watch it. Now, y'all can't complain about morals and how bad it is and how much you want to see the talent stop going there, but then you fucking watch that. Like, if you complain and complain and complain but you still watch it, guess what? You are supporting this cause. Because me, and I will admit, I watched the Greatest Royal Rumble because I wasn't really in the loop of what's happening in Saudi Arabia at the time. So I watched the Greatest Royal Rumble. I had not seen a single Saudi Arabia show at all since April 2018. I have not seen a single one. On God, I have not seen a single one. Because morally, that's unjust to me what they do in Saudi Arabia and how they just basically almost gotta drag their talent to Saudi Arabia to do these shows. So I don't watch them. I don't care about Goldberg returning. I don't care about Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar. They're going back to Saudi Arabia? Yes, who the fuck doesn't care? We'll get to our next topic here. Very lengthy episode of Chill Park. How long are we going now? 1 hour 14 minutes. It's the longest episode I've done so far. Holy shit. We're getting into some ROH news here. So far, we know that Ring of Honor Supercard 14, this is an annual thing they do. Ring of Honor, this is not new. They usually always do the Ring of Honor Supercard shows during WrestleMania weekend. Confirmed for Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor, which is happening April the 4th on Saturday, I believe. We will be seeing Jay White, El Phantasmo, Ryu Lee, and Will Ospreay will all be wrestling at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor. Now, this might be big news to some of you, Like, oh my God, New Japan, they're wrestling on Ring of Honor's card. I thought the partnership was over. I thought they weren't going to do this and da da da. New Japan never said they were pulling out. Like, I think people had this notion that because Ring of Honor is in the dumps and they're doing a bunch of dumb shit, that New Japan was just gonna. And I ain't gonna lie, I was under the impression for a little bit. Y'all ain't hear me see me going on here and saying that was happening. I said I wanted it to happen. I didn't say it was going to happen. But New Japan, Harold Mage himself came out months ago and said that they are going to stick true to their agreement with Ring of Honor. I don't remember when it happened or where I saw it, but I read it. They said they're going to stick true to it. And I just heard all the people complaining about it. I'm just like, well, damn, I feel bad to be you because they still going to stick into it. So this partnership they're in, it's not going to end. They're not pulling out. So expect to see New Japan stars in Ring of Honor. And expect when BOSJ comes around, guess who's going to be in BOSJ? Marty Scurll. Don't be surprised. When everyone's going to be talking about, oh my God, Marty Scurll, going to be like, why are you surprised about this? He was in BOSJ last year. He was in BOSJ the year before that. Guess who else was in BOSJ last year? Jonathan Gresham. Who is he signed to? Ring of Honor. Bandito. Ring of Honor. Like, I don't understand how people are so surprised by this, honestly. You shouldn't be. Now, if we start seeing guys like Okada and Tanahashi, maybe I can understand it. But Jay White, who got his excursion started in Ring of Honor, EOP, who's wrestled Ring of Honor before, Ryu Lee, who was in Ring of Honor before, Will Ospreay, like these are not guys you should be shocked by. Going to Ring of Honor Super, it's WrestleMania weekend too. Not only that, but New Japan Pro Wrestling is running a show during WrestleMania weekend as well. They're running their third Lions Break show. Now, Lions Break project is really just a showcase for, as you guessed, the young Lions. You're going to see Alex Coughlin and Ren Narita. I happily want to see Ren Narita. And Carl Fredericks and Clark Hunt. You're going to see those guys on the show. Tanahashi's been announced too, but it's not going to be a really big show. It's really just a show for WrestleCon. It's been announced to be a part of WrestleCon. So New Japan, they're getting their connections together. It looks like they're getting their connections together in the States. So good for them. Hopefully the New Japan of America tour goes pretty well. We'll see. Like I said, we're coming up on the New Japan of America dates. We'll see how those shows go and who turns up. Also, Marty Scurll, he ended up re-signing with Ring of Honor and is now the head booker of Ring of Honor. From what I read, he is the head booker of Ring of Honor. A lot of people were shocked and floored by this, that Marty Scurll didn't sign with AEW. But like, guys, Marty Scurll, he's a grown-ass man. He can make whatever. Marty Scurll's a grown-ass man. If he wants to re-sign Ring of Honor, he can re-sign Ring of Honor. Doesn't mean I have to like it, but he can re-sign Ring of Honor. I mean, good for him. I'm sure he got a better contract, with more money, probably less dates. And now look at him. He's running the show over there. I mean, he don't own Ring of Honor. But whatever is going down in terms of the show quality, that's all going to fall on Marty Scurll. So, I wish the best to him. I'm sorry, but because your head booker changed, I mean, I'm watching your product. I'm going to have to see a lot of people ranting and raving about how great the show is. I'm going to have to see a lot of turnarounds. I've never been interested in a product before. I'm not interested in a product now. So, this isn't going to change my opinion on them. We also got Brian Cage, allegedly. Because I say allegedly because the rumor mill started this up and they said it. And then his wife, Melissa Santos, went on there and said that, oh, he didn't sign with AEW. I don't know what you're talking about, but she could be lying. Who knows? He apparently has signed with AEW. Now, this is pretty interesting news considering that a lot of people, including myself, often talk about how AEW doesn't have enough big men. They don't have enough bruisers or powerhouses. Brian Cage is one of the beefiest, juiciest, swole-looking motherfuckers you have in wrestling right now. So, if you've been wanting a real big and beefy guy to throw and muscle people around, Brian Cage is your guy. Brian Cage also can high fly, which bugs me a little bit because I just wanted someone who can fling people around, not someone who could do everything. But that doesn't mean Brian Cage is untalented. Brian Cage is immensely talented, and I'm happy to see... maybe he be in AEW. What they can do with him, I'm not too sure. I'm waiting on Wardlow's match. I haven't seen Wardlow wrestle yet. Still waiting on that. I haven't seen Jake Hager wrestle yet. So I'm still waiting on that. The sooner we get some bigger men at AEW, the better. Last news I want to talk about here before I get into my New Year predictions. Tessa Blanchard winning the Impact Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. I made a video about a few months ago about this match happening a few days ago. Tessa Blanchard contending for the Impact Wrestling Championship and how I thought that she should win it because it would be great press for Impact Wrestling. Then a day before she won the title and faced Sami Callihan, that's when she made the post about how women should support each other more. And all the women from the woodworks came out talking about how she's a bully, she's this, she's that. And Allysin Kay, the NWA Women's Champion, even came out and said, remember that time you spat on a black woman and called the N-word in Japan? Is that supporting women? And I turned my head real quick. I said, what the fuck does she do? There's no tape. There's no audio of her doing any of this. So it's not 100% guaranteed that this happened. But when people from like all works of the wrestling community who just happen to wrestle, who just happen to share locker rooms with this person, all come out and say the same thing and agree on the same point and support the same story that just came out, it's really, really hard not to believe it's not true. Tessa Blanchard initially came out and basically alluded to this not being true. And I said, okay, I'm not going to not believe you, but it's hard to believe you right now after everybody has said that you said this, that you've done this. Even the person who was in question even came out and said that you did this. So I'm not going to immediately just say, okay, well, Tessa did it, fuck Tessa. And even though I was trolling and I was saying fuck Tessa on Twitter, I didn't immediately go straight to, oh, Tessa did this. Then she won the Impact Wrestling Championship, which I expected to happen either way. I expected that to happen no matter what. They built this story between Tessa and Sami over the course of a year. I would have been shocked if they just had Sami win because this happened. So Tessa won the title, and then she did her title celebration afterwards, and she started saying stuff like, oh, nobody's perfect, we're all human, it doesn't matter what you say, what you do, all these people got my back. And at that point in time, I said, okay, well, she fucking said it then. If the first thing out of your mouth is, nobody's perfect, like that, okay, so basically you're admitting to it, because she did not admit to it, she didn't decline it, she didn't say, she didn't even have to bring it up. Nobody asked her about this during her post-match promo. No one said, well, Tessa Blanchard, what are these allegations about you calling this person the N-word, spitting? No one asked her about this. She brought this up on her own merits. So she wanted to go out on air on live TV during her celebration when emotions were high and people were all behind her, and she wanted to say, just remember, guys, nobody's perfect and everybody makes mistakes. Like, all right, you're full of shit. I've never been a Tessa Blanchard fan, but I can't even call myself a Tessa Blanchard fan, even if I wanted to. And even though La Rosa Negra said, oh, it's water under the bridge, it's been resolved, it still fucking happened. So, as a person of color, when I hear this, I can't be a fan of hers. So, yeah, congratulations to her, but I ain't got nothing to say about her. Like, whatever. Anyway, then we get into the last bit of this podcast, my New Year predictions. So, wrestling is going to be around for the entire 2020s, I like to believe. What do I believe is going to happen this year in professional wrestling? I have a great list that I'll go back to at the very end of the year to see if I got right. Let's get into it. I got a few things listed here. So my first prediction for 2020 is that I believe... Now, I made this list. I made this list the day after Wrestle Kingdom. The day after Wrestle Kingdom. So, 2 things on this list already happened, which means... I got his prediction right for the first part of the year. First thing is that Brock Lesnar will wrestle in the Royal Rumble match, which I got right. I also wrote down that I believe that Keith Lee and Matt Riddle will be the men to eliminate Brock Lesnar from the Royal Rumble. We'll see about that. I believe that Shayna Baszler will win the Women's Royal Rumble match and challenge Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. And I believe that Roman Reigns will win the Men's Royal Rumble match and challenge The Fiend for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. Now to go into my predictions here. Shayna Baszler, I feel like she just lost the NXT Women's Championship. There's nothing for her. You know, she entered in that little mini feud with Becky Lynch that had Bayley just be there. And Bayley got tapped out at Survivor Series for Shayna to win. So they have a little bit of unresolved issues between Becky and Shayna. So I definitely can see this match happen at WrestleMania. So I'm going to go with Shayna winning. Roman, I don't want him to win. I'm out cheering for Roman to win. But he's been been in the dark for a while now. I think ever since Roman Reigns came back from beating cancer, they've done their best to make him in the background and make sure the crowd isn't going to boo him right away. Because they know if they were to push him right out the gate, we would rebel because of past grievances. However, he's not going to be in the dark forever. I believe 2020, Roman Reigns is going to make his comeback. Now, whether the fans take to it is up to you guys. Now, me personally, I don't watch Raw on SmackDown if they really give a shit. But if Roman Reigns is going on to WrestleMania to face The Fiend, I don't think he's going to beat The Fiend. I don't think he should beat The Fiend. Roman Reigns has this road to redemption storyline, and he still fails to beat The Fiend at WrestleMania. Keep The Fiend strong. For who? I don't know. But I don't think The Fiend should be losing. He beats Daniel Bryan. He beats The Miz. This is an unstoppable monster you have built up. You can't just have Roman Reigns go in there and just beat this man. Not within an inch of his life like Seth Rollins did. And even then, guess what? The Fiend didn't even lose that match, technically. So who do you have beat him? I don't know, but I wouldn't have it be Roman Reigns. That's how you have the crowd turn on Roman again. Because I'll be honest, once upon a time, I hated Roman Reigns. 2015, hated Roman Reigns. 2016, hated Roman Reigns. 2017, hated Roman Reigns. 2018, I kind of mellowed out on him, and I was like, okay, I don't not like him, but, whatever. 2019, I'm like, okay, he's cool, I guess. I don't like him, but, I don't not like him either. I'm indifferent. 2020, I don't want to hate Roman Reigns again. Who here wants to hate Roman Reigns? No one wants to hate this man. This man beat cancer. I don't want to boo him. I'm going to feel bad if I boo him. But guess what? If it's something I don't like, I'm going to boo. I don't want to boo Roman Reigns. So I hope if he does win a Rumble, which I'm guessing he will. I don't want him to, but I'm guessing he will. I hope he doesn't beat The Fiend at WrestleMania. I don't. I really don't. I also believe that Matt Hardy, Brody Lee, who already got released, so one prediction already right. Matt Hardy, Brody Lee, and the Revival will leave WWE and sign with AEW. Matt Hardy's contract is coming up next month, and it seems like he's already 1 foot out the door, ready to go. There's nothing WWE's doing for him. He's older. He's slower. What else is there for him to do in WWE? They're not going to push him to the main event scene. They're not going to have him win the Rumble. They're not going to have him win. There's nothing for him to do there. When he came back to WWE 2017, aside from the Hardy Boy stick, there was nothing for him to do outside of the broken gimmick. And guess what? That went nowhere after 3 months. So Matt Hardy leaving is best for him, honestly. If he resigns, all right, but I see him leaving. I think he's going to AEW. And I think he's going to be the leader of the Nightmare Collective. Yeah, right. The leader of the Dark Order. I can get behind that. Brody Lee, Luke Harper, already been released by WWE. I see him going to AEW and turn it up down there with all the other talent. This guy is so immensely gifted, and we wouldn't know that because they don't do shit with him. WWE hasn't. AEW, I hope they're going to do something with this man. But I'm interested. I'm interested to see what he does. He's going to be at WrestleCon. We know that much. Will he sign with AEW is the question. I think he will. The Revival. They've been treated like dog shit ever since they went to the main roster. I think they're going to leave. And I hope. Because nowadays, people talk about wanting to leave and go to AEW, but it's just a crux to get more money. And then they end up signing with WWE in the end. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do end up signing with WWE, and I just sit there and I laugh okay, well, if you get treated like shit for the rest of your careers, I won't feel bad. Io, it's a big maybe. I mean, I hear reports about her making less money at NXT than she did in Stardom, and that her husband, her husband, Evil, I didn't even know she's married to Evil, honestly. Evil being in New Japan and her being away from her husband, that's gotta suck. That's gotta really suck. So that's a big maybe. She could leave. I mean, they've been doing her right in NXT. It's not like they're treating her badly in NXT. I don't see a reason for her to leave. But I'm not Io. I'm not Io. So maybe she will, maybe she won't. Kairi Sane, I don't think she's leaving. I believe that Kota Ibushi and Jay White, in no particular order, will both win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at some point this year. I also believe that Zack Sabre Jr. and Hiroshi Tanahashi at some point this year will become the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Now that does mean I believe that the titles will be split apart at some point. I don't believe that Naito is going to hold on to both titles all year. I don't believe that Naito is going to keep those titles together all year. I don't see this scenario where New Japan is going to have one main title for years to come. I don't think that's going to be the case for 2020. I think at some point they're going to break those titles apart again. It's just a matter of when. I don't know when that's going to happen. I think it will happen. And when it happens, ZSJ Tanahashi, white belt, Kota Ibushi, Jay White, black belt. No particular order for either side. I believe that Jon Moxley or Taichi will win a New Japan Cup and challenge Naito at Sakura Genesis. Wide shot in the dark. I know. But I can't think of anybody else to win New Japan Cup. I don't want it to be Okada. It could be Okada. I don't want it to be Okada, but it could be. It could also be Jay White, but that'd be too predictable. Could be Will Ospreay, but I don't see Will Ospreay going at Naito right away. So I think wide shot in the dark is Jon Moxley, since Jon Moxley going after the IWGP Championship, that strums up a lot of buzz for New Japan. If they want to get a lot of eyes on their product, they would make Jon Moxley go after the heavyweight title at some point. Maybe after dropping the U.S. title to somebody, maybe Minoru Suzuki. Taichi and Naito have a long-running feud. They face off at least once a fucking year. This should be the time of the year they face off. This time for high stakes. Taichi has proven before he can have some kick-ass matches. I think if you give him a high stake, he can have a kick-ass match against Tetsuya Naito. And people might end up turning their eyes towards Taichi as a possible main eventer one day. He'll never get to that point, but a possible main eventer one day. I believe that Stardom will have another match featured on a New Japan show, possibly as early as Dominion, but it likely will not be televised once again. I believe for Stardom that Julia, Hana Kimura, and or Tam Nakano will at some point win the Wonder of Stardom Championship, and I believe that Momo Watanabe will at some point become the World of Stardom Champion, whether it be at Korakuen Hall in a few days or later down the line. I believe Momo will win the red strap. I believe Jon Moxley and MJF at some point this year will become the AEW World Champion. I believe that AEW ratings will peak at 1.5 million. I don't think it will go any higher than that, and it definitely will go lower at some points, but I think 1.5 might be their ceiling for 2020. Hopefully higher, because then they'll be competing with Raw and SmackDown, but I think 1.5 might be the highest they'll reach this year. I believe that Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano are destined to be NXT champions again sometime this year, if not both, one or the other. I believe that NXT will peak at somewhere between 900,000 and 1 million viewers in the ratings. I don't really see them going to 1.5 like AEW, but who knows? I wouldn't be mad about it. And finally, I believe that AEW and New Japan at some point this year will sit down, cry it out, hug it out, make amends, and they will come to some type of partnership. And they'll find a way to incorporate select stuff. We were not going to see Kenny Omega as IWGP champion. We're not going to see Okada as the AEW We're not going to see that type of shit. But we might see some guys like, Jungle Boy. You might see some guys like Darby Allin in BOSA 28. Cody in the G1 Climax. Something like that. You could see maybe a Will Ospreay competing against Pac in AEW, like stuff like that. Nothing major, but because they don't do anything major like that with Ring of Honor, we don't see Jay Lethal competing for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. So I don't see that happening in AEW or New Japan. But at some point, they will come down and they will sit down and they will talk it out. And that is Chill Pill Podcast episode 6. We've gone on for 1 hour and 30 minutes. This is the longest episode I have ever done. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I love you guys as always. Please do yourself a favor and like and subscribe. If you have not already liked this video, it helps the algorithm out. And subscribe to this channel if you have not already for more stuff like this. I don't know if I'm ever going to go this long again, but it was definitely something that was very, very, very noteworthy. I'm going to clip a bunch of these segments in here. So hopefully if you catch it here and you catch it on the channel again, you say, hey, this was a good episode. Good job, Tyler. Or some shit like that. I don't know. But definitely like this video. More likes means you guys want to see it. More demand means I'll give it to you. I love you guys as always, and I will see you all later. Peace out, guys.